Hello, I'm Alicia Gordon, one of the Edge Tech facilitators.
And I'm Chris Sumner, and today we're going to talk about quizzes in Canvas. This will help you out with doing some summative assessments for your kids, or even formative if you want to do it like that. But it's just another grading option to kind of smooth your process and make it a little easier on you instead of doing paper grading. So, like we said, we are going to cover quizzes. We'll show you how to set up the quizzes in Canvas. We'll also talk about a few options that you have, including different types of quizzes, and we'll touch on formula questions, drop down, and or multiple drop down, and a text slash no question option. And then we'll show you how to create those questions. So let's take a look in Canvas. And as you can see, we have a quiz option right here. You can click there, and you can even, through modules, add a quiz from the get-go. But we're going to take a look at this quizzes option. So this is where all your quizzes will show up. In order to set up and start creating a quiz, you'll want to click the blue button. And it gives you two options. And we're going to use this classic quizzes option because this is the one that is connected to Tyler and will sync with Tyler so that you don't have to go back and manually put in grades. So we're going to click that one. You click submit. And then just like your other assignments that you've created before, this looks very similar. You have your instructions box where you can type things or even switch over the HTML and embed something. Maybe you have a video that you want your kids to watch before answering the quiz questions, or maybe you have a different artifact you want them to use for the quiz. But anyways, this is where you can put those instructions or those extension pieces. Obviously, name your quiz. And then down here, you'll want to take a look at these settings too. You can change your assignment group type. I like to use summative and formative for my group types. You want to make sure you click sync to Tyler so that when you go into Tyler to put in these grades, it'll actually pop up for you to do. And then you also have a bunch of different options like shuffle answers. You can put a time limit on there, allow multiple attempts, and just a bunch of several different options that you can use to customize your quiz. And then you can even put a due date, maybe an available window, whatever you need. So definitely check out these options and play around with them so that you can make your quiz effective for your kids. And then when you're ready to add questions, you'll want to find this tab up here at the very top. And this is, when you touch that, this is where you start actually adding your questions. And Alicia has created a quiz with a few of our question types, and she's going to go over how to set those up and get those started. So let's move over to the one that she created right here. She's going to talk about these.
Okay, so after you've set up your quiz and you've went to that question part and you click on create new question, when you click on create new question, you'll have options. So the first option I want to talk to you about is the formula option, which is very good for our math teachers here at Edge if you want to utilize a formula to teach your students. So the way that this question works is you can put a formula in here. Each thing that's the bracketed pieces, those are the things that'll become your variables in the formulas at the end. So these will become your variables. So I didn't bracket y because that's what they're solving for. But I did, and this is the slope intercept form. I just used something that our teachers here at Edge are using. So I have M in brackets, X in brackets, and B in brackets. It's very important that you bracket what you want them to be able, like what you want to have numbers for. Because after you put those brackets, those same variables, they'll pop up. As you can see here, those same variables pop up at the bottom. You can put your minimum and maximum. You can make it anything you want it to be. I mean, I can change this number to 200. I can add decimal places to it. And after I set my minimum and my maximum, I press compute, and you can compute however many times you want to. Each time you compute though, your formula changes. So the first thing you'll do after you bracket those variables at the top, the next thing you'll do is you'll input the formula that students will need to use in order for them to come up with the correct answer. So it's very important that you do that part, because without it, you won't be able to use the formula in the question. So if I change this formula, it'll still be, so if I put B first plus M times X and I save it, it'll still give me the same answer because it follows that PEMDAS. So as long as these are the things at the top that are bracketed, it'll give me these answers. Okay. So after you decide what your formula is, it'll save your formula. If you want to delete a formula, you just press the X. After I do that, you want to generate some possible solutions. The reason you generate possible solutions is you don't want them to memorize the answer to one question. You want to make sure that they understand the concept. So this, you can go up to 200. So I kept it low at 5 or 4 because that's how many answer choices that they'll see anyway. So I don't want to give it too many options for them to have to go through. Just 4 different options that the question will pop up as, because they won't see this formula here at the top. What they'll see is the numbers that are computed for that. So whatever numbers are computed, which you'll see in a second. Then I'll generate, and I know that it's following the same formula because I do the same formula I used here, M times X plus B, it'll give me this answer. Then M times X, so with the 9 times 9 plus 7, that'll give me 88. So that lets you know that the students know the formula. So no matter what numbers they get, they'll be able to follow the formula. So we update that question. I can save it, and I can go preview what the students will see. So I preview my first question, which is that formula question. And this is what the students see. So they don't see that option of mx plus b. They know that they're solving for this y right here. They know that they're solving for y. So that's what I put in for them. And then I say, okay, I'm going to keep editing this. I'll edit, and we'll move on to the next one. So if you have any questions
Jacqueline Garcia come to the office with your things? Jacqueline Garcia.
About this one, just let me know. There are a lot of resources over formula, which is a tougher type of question because it's important that you put all the information in, right? But that's one way that you can use the formula question in your class. And if I could have decided to change my brackets and put a bracket around y, it really wouldn't change. It would just say whatever variable has brackets around it, those are the variables that'll pop up. Our next question type is multiple drop downs. Okay, so if you decided to choose multiple drop downs in your options, as I've done, this also is one where you have to put a bracket around the part that you want to become the question. So I chose a simple one. A simile is a type of blank using like and as. So they have to choose one of the drop down options. So right now I just put example. So you don't want to put the answer in the bracket. You want to put a different word in the bracket that you want them to solve for. So I just put the word example in my bracket. Then I have 3 possible things for them to choose from. That is what's going to show up in the multiple drop down. They can either choose this one, they can choose metaphor, or they can choose definition. And one thing I like about quizzes is you can put comments on every single answer choice. So if they choose the wrong answer, you can add a video or something like that. It's up to you, whatever you want to add for the student. You can put a fun video or tell them a prize maybe. If they get the right answer, they're supposed to do this. If they get the wrong answer, they're supposed to do this. And then you finish that question. And the last type of question, which is the text with no actual question, that question doesn't count for points. It doesn't count for points. It may be something that you want them to think about throughout the lesson. It may be as I've done here. So throughout the lesson, I want them to tell me what they learned, something they're confused about, something they really understood. The text question that doesn't have a question, that could be your exit ticket, something they may have to tell you as they walk out the classroom that day. And this is one of the easier options of the three. All you have to do is fill in those blanks. So all you have to do is write the questions that you want them to be able to answer for you by the end of the day, or a specific question you want to see. I suggest using this one as an exit ticket or a bell ringer where you want to discuss something. So then you could talk about that question throughout the class, something you can post for them so that they can just look at, maybe write down in their journal. But this question does not count for points, which I did not touch on in the other two questions. So let's talk about the point option. So here on the side, you decide how many points you want each question to be worth. So I can make this one worth 33, 50, it doesn't matter. But that is how it'll compute what 100 is. So if you want it to be out of 100, make sure all of your digits here equal 100. If you want your test to be out of 100, you have to make sure your points are out of 100 so that they can do it. So I want us to go ahead and preview these other two types of questions. So I'll save it. You have to save it. And then I'll preview what the students will see on their end. So as you see, the slope intercept one changes. It changes each time because it doesn't want you to memorize the answer. It wants to know that, hey, you understand how to use this formula. Then for my multiple drop downs, they have to select the answer. If that's the one that they use, that's the one that'll fill in the blank. Or they could choose this one. As you can see, the word that I put in the bracket is no longer there. It was just a placeholder. You have to put a word in there. You can't leave the brackets blank. You have to put a word in there. And that's just a placeholder for the other options that you'll have. And then you have your last question where they don't actually answer the question. They just view these questions. And as I said, I suggest it as an exit ticket or a bell ringer in which you like to discuss.
So we hope this helps you out in creating different options for your students. We have included more help with formula questions because we know that's probably one of the more complicated question options, and there's a lot of different things you can use with that. So these are just two YouTube videos that kind of go further in depth on doing formula questions. We don't want to spend too much time on this video doing that. We wanted to show you some other questions. So this one, we'll go over more of the basics of kind of setting it up. And then this one's a little bit of a longer video that kind of goes more in depth and even touches on some science options for science teachers that want to use formula questions in their teaching. And as always, if you need any help, these are our emails, and we would be more than happy to help you set things up. If we don't know something, we can definitely help you figure out that answer and help you hunt that down. So we hope you have a great holiday break, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Bye, guys.